Hi everybody. Before I start with the topic, I will want to say a few things to you people. I am a conspiracy. I believe in conspiracy, but I don't believe in conspiracy theory. Everything in all my years of research and education, everything become a conspiracy fact, not conspiracy theory. I'm not a doctor, but I love uh, science. I'm not a scientist, but I like to see how the body works, how everything in the body, the heart, the blood, everything. I love it. Then I'm not have any qualification degrees. I was a teacher, so yes, it's been about 35 years that I get involved in conspiracy. What was conspiracy theory become conspiracy fact. I believe that man never landed on the moon. I can prove it. I believe 911 was not done by Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. It was done by a secret organization. It's up to you guys to believe what you want to believe. And I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe the Bible. And in all my years of research and investigation, I always compare all the things in the world, what's happening with the Bible, and over, the Bible proves himself. Then I know there are doctors, nurses, sisters who work in the hospital. They are in the front line. They are the one who take the greatest risk to heal all those people. But I believe that there is other way, easier way to make those people get healed. So, coronavirus, there is many questions, not by myself, but by other people. And there have been many YouTube videos, websites that say you can stay healthy, you cannot get sick of coronavirus using vitamin A, B, C, D, and zinc and selenium. So there is other ways that you can use, take in to stay healthy. Coronavirus is not a big monster. I agree, there is people who is dying, but there's people who dying with pneumonia, heart attack, many other, far more cancer, far more than coronavirus. That the media that make a small heap to a mountain. They make everything big because the media belong to the secret society Illuminati, elite, they manipulate everything, including coronavirus. So what I'm trying to say, I have great respect for those people in the front line who's fighting the battle. A lot of them have died, which was unnecessary. There is no need for them to die because there is way to stop the coronavirus in a very simple, easy way. But what I said, they make a big issue of it. Okay, let's start with coronavirus. There's many questions that will be in 3 parts. So this is the first part, and then we will carry on and see what is what. Part 1, in 2012, at the opening of the London Olympic Games, it was really funny where at a sport event you bring in beds, sick people, nurses, doctors. For what? It's not stupid. It's really stupid. I mean, if you want to have a show at a sport event, then you will maybe have music and few songs, but no, they must have the biggest show that you can get that costs millions and millions pounds, beds, sick people, nurses and doctors in 2012. Somebody knows, sometime in the future, the coronavirus will strike. So, let me check another picture. The dead. So you have the dead with the hospital beds, sisters, doctors, sick people. Now the dead is here. Coronavirus is real, but is also being manipulated. We know a lot of doctors that heal their patients in a simpler, easy way, and they beat coronavirus. But those people who go to the hospital, maybe they are lucky, maybe they will survive. But unfortunately, yes, there is a lot of them who die in the hospital because there is a protocol that must be followed. Only the protocol, no other protocols, and. Okay, then we have something that look like in the top picture, it look like coronavirus. And then we have on the bottom picture the phoenix that has been arise. Now phoenix is a bird that you can burn down, kill it, burn down, and out of the ashes it will rise. Now phoenix is a symbol of the Illuminati, the elite, the Freemasons, whatever you call them. They are real. So let me see. The coronavirus, and out of the coronavirus, the phoenix is arise. In other words, a new system will arise, a new world order will arise, whatever you call it. Coronavirus is a tool they use to manipulate the way how the world will go into the future. And they do it openly. There is no hiding anymore. Okay, let me check the next picture. The top picture is not a very good picture, but you can see it's a kind, they're very similar to coronavirus. If you look in the bottom left picture, very similar. And the bottom picture, you can see very look alike coronavirus in 2012. So they put a big show up to tell us something that will happen, and it is here now. Okay, let's understand what is Hegelian dialect. That's very important to understand what is Hegelian dialect. Let me see what they explain, how they explain it. Now, Fishburne, an actor in the film Matrix. Matrix was a three-part film where a lot of action taking place and a lot of hidden messages. You can find them, you can check them. And he said, what if I told you that the Hegelian dialect is in full swing? In full swing. It's happening. It's here. Now, Hegelian dialectic, serious thought, said Hegel, is dialectical in nature as described on the previous page. A definition for this process, the Hegelian dialect, is the inevitable transition of thought by contradiction and reconciliation from an initial conviction to its opposite, and then to a new, higher conception that involve but transcend both of them. Let me read again. Then to a new, higher conception that involve but transcend both of them. And the next picture, you will see on the top, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. That is how the Hegelian dialect is work. Now let me start with the first one. Descartes explained the world through rationalist philosophy, but Hume contradicted that with his empiricism, and Kant tried to resolve it with his compromise in critique of pure reason. So now we have Kant critique of pure reason, but Hegel thought this couldn't explain growth through history, hence Hegel's resulting theory of the dialectic. Okay, let me see how it works. Hegelian dialectic is a framework for guiding thought and action into conflict that lead to synthetic solutions which can only be introduced once those being manipulated take a side that will advance the predetermined agenda. Predetermined agenda. Control opposition. What we get there is problem, reaction, and solution. Let me see how it works. How the problem, reaction, solution paradigm works. Number one, the government create or exploit a problem, then attribute blame to other. Number two, the populace react by asking the government for protection and help to solve the problem. That's the reaction. Number three, the government offers the solution that was planned by them long before the crisis occurred. Let me read it again. Number three, the government offer the solution that was planned by them long before the crisis occurred. So the outcome, the right and the liberty are exchanged for the illusion of protection and health. Let me see some examples how it works. There we have agenda, we have the thesis, which is a problem, we have the antithesis, which is the reaction, we have the synthesis, which is solution. Now the agenda is centralization of power through the monopoly currency. So the thesis is the Federal Reserve unbacked intangible currency. Therefore, antithesis, the gold standard, honored money, is a reaction and the solution is digital gold. Synthesis, fraudulent gold backed digital currency owned by the same guy that caused the problem. Owned by the same guy that caused the problem. The next picture, the agenda is the centralization of power. So the thesis is manufactured terrorist threat. The antithesis is repressive politate. The synthesis is removal of freedom, transfer of power from many to the few. The next one, Hegel and dialectic agenda is to shut down the alternative media. Now the alternative media is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Okay, let me see what is the thesis. Faking fake news to cause public outcry. Therefore, the antithesis is online Big Brother censorship. And it's happened already. If you say something on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they censor you. They use these people, fact finders, or what is the other one, the Snoop. The next part 2, I will give more details about these fake news and the censorship, how it works, why. So the synthesis is removal of free speech on the web. And it's already happening. It's already happening. The next one, under every Truth and Security Act, the agenda is workforce aligned education. Thesis is without government control, students will fail. Antithesis, repressive laws and funding to manipulate agenda. So the synthesis is removal of freedom, disrespect for private personal data, loss of school choice, micromanaging of local and state control. And it's happening. It's happening. It's here. Another one, centralization of power, already. The thesis, terror event, fake or real. Antithesis is increased police state. Synthesis is removal of freedom, transfer of power. The Hegelian dialectic is any systematic reasoning, exposition, or argument that juxtaposes opposite or contradictory ideas and usually seeks to resolve their conflict. Okay, the next one. Agenda, Democrat, one party rule, thesis, George Floyd dead, antithesis, defund the police, synthesis, delegitimize America. There you have it. That's what's happening. That's how Hegelian dialect is work. Okay, now we have the picture here, a comic strip. I want you guys to read it yourself. Very nice comic strip. Okay, there you have it. That is how Hegelian dialect is work. So let me see what famous people said, what they have experienced, what they have saw. Woodrow Wilson was the president in the early part of the 20th century, and he said, "Since I entered politics, I have chiefly had man's views confided to me privately. Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of something. They know that there is a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so wakeful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they better not speak about their breed when they speak in condemnation of it." That is conspiracy fact, not conspiracy theory. So let me check the next one. The government, which was designed for the people, has got into the hand of the bosses and their employer, the special interests. An invisible empire has been set up above the forms of democracy. Woodrow Wilson again. Let me check the next one. I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country, USA, United States of America. A great industrial nation is controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all our activities are in the hands of the few man. That is the Federal Reserve Bank. We have come to be one of the world's ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and juries of a small group of dominant men. Woodrow Wilson again. That after he signed the document to approve the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, the same one. Let me go to the next one. Government first duty is to protect the people, not run their life, said by Ronald Reagan, one of the best great United States president. I like that man. Anyway, let me check the next one. Abraham Lincoln said, "You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all of the time. You must wake up, people. You must wake up. That's real." Okay, John F. Kennedy, one of my heroes. I think he was a great man, and they shot him because they don't like what he was going to do. Now he said, "Things do not happen. Things are made to happen." Listen again. Things do not happen. Things are made to happen. And let me go to the last one. Franklin D. Roosevelt. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. You can bet it was planned that way. And that is how I see uh, about the coronavirus. It was planned. It was not there by accident. Okay, I'm going to show you some videos. All that videos was shot in 2006, 2005, 2014, different time, some years ago, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years ago. The one was 2005, so that's 15 years ago. Let me check what these people know. It's not they didn't know and tell us to be ready. They know it will happen because they all are part of the secret society, the Illuminati, the elite, the hidden government, whatever you call them.
It is vital that our nation discuss and address the threat of pandemic flu now. There is no pandemic flu in our country or in the world at this time. But if we wait for a pandemic to appear, it will be too late to prepare. Scientists and doctors cannot tell us where or when the next pandemic will strike or how severe it'll be. But most agree at some point we are likely to face another pandemic. A pandemic is a lot like a forest fire. If caught early, it might be extinguished with limited damage. If allowed to smolder undetected, it can grow to an inferno that spreads quickly beyond our ability to control it.
I thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today, is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today, based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak.
We have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up, 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment. And we're further along to be able to catch it.
So I like the one that Obama said, something about investment. Which investment? Investment for the elite. So now we can see in the last year, the 1% of the research people in the world, the top, they have a 27% increase in their income. All the small man, small business, start down, while the elite make 27% increase on their sales. That is the investment he's talking about. It was never about the people in the street, the man in the street. Okay, let me check the next video.
When I was a kid, the disaster we worried about most was a nuclear war. That's why we had a barrel like this down in our basement filled with cans of food and water. When the nuclear attack came, we were supposed to go downstairs, hunker down, and eat out of that barrel. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence. But we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic.
There's a lot of things I would like to tell you about Bill Gates, but I rather not. There is so many bad things he have done in his life, but for the world, he's a good man. But believe me, he's not a good man.
The head of the World Health Organization is warning that COVID-19 will not be the last pandemic, adding that responses to it should not be short-sighted. Speaking on Sunday for the first International Day of Epidemic Preparedness, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus urged countries to invest in preparedness capacity to prevent, detect, and mitigate emergencies. Anthony Fauci, America's chief infectious disease.
When is the next pandemic? We know already there's a new virus, a new variant, and all the people are vaccinated with vaccines for the current COVID-19, but the World Health Organization chief said, he warned, COVID-19 will not be the last pandemic. So people, make yourself ready for another 2-3 years where you will go to shops with masks, where you will keep distance. They close the stores, but the casinos is open. Some of the sport events is open. You can go to places, that is okay, but they close the stores. Very interesting. Okay, let me check then. The next thing I want to show you. Now, epidemic means a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. It's normally a town, maybe a county, or a specific area. So that is what it is. And now we are in pandemic with COVID-19. And pandemic means of a disease prevalent over the whole country or the world. An outbreak of pandemic disease. Okay, then we have here an infectant. What is an infectant? Occur when another organism enter your body and cause disease. The organisms that cause infections are very diverse and can include things like virus, bacteria, fungi, parasite. So if you look at the right hand side, common cold, flu, strep throat, urinary tract infection, cellulitis, stomach flu, pneumonia, and. But we will come back to that. And then we have here a list of the epidemic from 1200 years before Christ in Babylon, and it was Sanskrit scholars found records of a disease resembling the flu. Okay, then we have many others that is unknown, bubonic plague, and smallpox, influenza, and so on, hundreds of them. So you can see. Okay, then we have pandemic, now we have HIV, AIDS, and COVID-19 is currently the two big ones. People have so far died from AIDS, is about 30 million plus. And they really want to make us believe it came from the apes, it came from the bats, it came from the birds, it came from the pigs, and so on. The poor animal. All the bad things happening in the world is blaming onto the animal. Oh, poor animal. I feel so sorry for them. But I don't believe that. We will come to that. We will see why I don't believe that. Then infections is the invasion of an organ, body, tissue, or by disease-causing agent, virus, bacteria, fungi, prion, parasite, arthropod. Now, arthropods such as ticks, mites, flea, and lice, can also cause human disease. Blah 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 blah. They said here, the host can fight infections using their immune system. Mammalian hosts react to infection with an innate response, often involving inflammation, followed by adaptive response. Specific medication used to treat infections include antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, antiprotozoal, antihelmintic, blah 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 blah. Big word, nice word. And they said infectious disease result in 9.2 million deaths in 2013. About 70% of all deaths. Now, the branch of medicine that focus on infections are referred to as infectious disease. Blah, blah, blah. Big words. Okay, then we have here the World Health Organization website. They have record all the disease outbreak from 1996. Maybe they have the record previously, but on the website is from, and if we click on it, then we will see all the different diseases in different countries, in different times, all over the world. There's December 24th, Ebola in Gabon, 20 December, Ebola in Gabon, and 13 December, cholera in Rwanda and Zaire, and 13, and so on. Good record keeping. So you can see, okay. Then we can see very nice website, disease outbreak, statement on the meeting of IHR, Emergency Committee for Ebola virus, and then all the current virus, pandemic, epidemic, disease is all over their website. But now, Global Influenza Surveillance and Response System. Where was the surveillance? Where was the response? It was to stop at Wuhan. It didn't stop at Wuhan in China. A very interesting question is, why did the COVID-19 start in Wuhan, go right all over the world, but not into the rest of China? They block around, they blockade the road, they stop everybody that want to go out in Wuhan. So the rest of China is clean, no problem solved. So is that an accident? A big question there. Was that an accident that only Wuhan to the rest of the world and not to the rest of China? Response system, where is that response system? It's not there. WHO is a part of the Illuminati, New World Order. They are not working for us. They are working for the elite. Pandemic Influenza Preparedness Framework. What happened? Where is that? Nothing. That's why Trump refused to pay the World Health Organization any money. And then we have here emergency preparedness response, infection prevention and control in healthcare. Where is that? They are not working for us. They are working for the New World Order, for the Illuminati, the secret society, the hidden government. That is a fact. It's not theory. It's fact. I can prove it to you. But anyway, then we have here disease control in humanitarian emergency. Where is that? I didn't see it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, then we have here the 20 of the worst epidemic and pandemic in history. The first one is prehistoric epidemic, about 3,000 years before Christ, in China. About 5,000 years ago, an epidemic wiped out a prehistoric village in China. You think I believe China? They are communists. They don't believe in God. Everywhere they go, they lie. So maybe that was Mao Zedong, who have killed more than 40 million people in the Chinese Revolution. Maybe it is them, not 5,000 years ago. Okay, then we have the plague of Athens, 430 before Christ. We have the Antonine plague, 165 to 180 after Dominion. So there's many plagues and disease, and the Black Death, a very well-known one. And the funny thing is that the originated, where it originated from China. If I understand, I remember rightly, more than 100 million people died. Okay, so we have all these big plagues all over the world. In London, 1665, 1666. In Marseille, in France, Russian. In Philadelphia, yellow fever. In America, the flu pandemic. The American polio epidemic, 1916. The Spanish flu, 1918 to 1920. the Asian flu, the AIDS pandemic and epidemic all over the world. More than 35 million people die of AIDS, and the swine flu, 2009, 2010, and so on. The West African Ebola epidemic, the Zika virus epidemic, 2015 to present day. So I have a big question about all these things, but let me carry on and see. Okay. From 1200 BC in Babylon to 1900, we have the typhus, the feral hemorrhage, fever, the smallpox, possibly salmonella, entericia, malaria, chickenpox, hepatitis D, dengue fever, typhoid fever, influenza, bubonic plague, measles, yellow fever, and some cholera. So yeah, that is all the disease that they find in the record of history that had been taking place for about 3,100 years, and the last 25 years before the end of the 19th century, the scarlet fever, the African trypanosomiasis, and then unknown, possibly an unknown species of hantavirus or ACOV, OC43. Oh well. 21 viruses that cause havoc for 3,100 years. Maybe there is more that is not recorded, but what I can find in the record history, that is 21 virus. Okay, in the 20th century, we have bubonic plague, pneumonic plague, smallpox, yellow fever, cholera, measles, blah blah blah, that came over from the previous time, but 13 new virus is discovered for the last 100 years. Really? For 3,100 years we had 21 known virus, but in 100 years we discovered another 13 new viruses. New viruses. Very interesting. Kuru, poliomyelitis, influenza A virus subtype H1N1, rabies fever, influenza A virus subtype A2N2, A3N2, then we have anthrax, and then we have PCJD, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, Ebola, psittacosis, and encephalitis lethargica. That is new virus they discovered in the last 100 years of the 20th century. Okay, so altogether 27 viruses caused havoc in 20th century. But now we come to the last 20 years, the 21st century. In only 20 years, 20 new viruses is discovered that create havoc in 20 years, one for every year. Totally new virus. So you tell me that the virus just pop up and is there. Rabies. All these new viruses is created in laboratory. It's not conspiracy theory, it's conspiracy facts. Read up on the internet, check up all the documents, videos, talk. And if you have something between your ears, some brain, hopefully your eyes will open and you will see the truth. And that is all the new viruses discovered in the last 20 years. But that virus is in that time, that virus in that time, that virus in that time. It's rubbish. All this virus is new virus, man-made in laboratory. So it's up to you to believe what you want to believe. And that's that. Check for part 2 videos next time. Bye bye.